He didn't want to be recognised. Hood up, mask on, Axel Rudakubana skulks in the back of a taxi. He'd booked it to take him to Hart Street in Southport. Having arrived there, the driver asks him how he wants to pay.
With cash or card, mate?
But he jumps out with other things on his mind. The teenager only had one intent, looking for the Taylor Swift dance class. First he tries the wrong door and then calmly wanders through the one he wants before disappearing up the stairs towards the children. It was 10 minutes before the police arrived to a scene of carnage. 2 adults and 11 children stabbed and 3 little girls murdered. 6-year-old Bebe King and Elsie Dot Stancombe, aged 7, didn't stand a chance. 9-year-old Silva Aguiar managed to get out of the building but died of her injuries.
The level of violence used, the intensity of the level of violence used, the intent, it's clear that Rudakubana went to Hart Street intent on not just committing murder that day. He wanted to commit mass murder and injure people with the most severe injuries, and that's what he succeeded in doing.
Having arrested Rudakubana, it wasn't long before the police went to his house. Inside, they found chaos. In the lounge, a knife on the sofa and electronic devices full of images of war and genocide. And there was more in his bedroom. Under the bed, a machete, a bow and a set of arrows, and then a find which brought the search to a sudden stop. Ricin, the deadly poison, and the equipment to make it. Despite all that, the police say that because there's no evidence Rudakubana subscribed to a particular political or religious ideology, the stabbing hasn't been declared a terrorist incident. But it's now emerged that he had previously been referred to the government's counter-terrorism prevent programme 3 times because of material he'd viewed online.
We've spoken about the growing number of young people with complex fixations with violence and needs that are within our casework, but who have no clear ideology despite that violent fascination. Although improvements to help tackle this challenge have been made, it is right that questions are asked about what more needs to be done across the whole prevent system and beyond.
It's also been revealed that the week before the attack, Axel Rudakubana tried to get into a taxi, but his father managed to stop him. He'd booked it to take him to his former high school. It's thought he was planning an attack there. He'd been expelled 5 years earlier, and pictures now forming of a violent past, contacts with the police, carrying knives into school and on a bus, and an assault on another student. The families of the 3 little girls who were murdered by the teenager only discovered some of these details for the first time this week.
The report to Prevent Social Services, they are new. That is new knowledge, and they're shocked, but they would like to be part of change, and they're grateful that a public inquiry has been announced to do that.
The Taylor Swift dance class was billed online, but it's not known what Rudakubana's reason was for targeting it. Do you know anything about why he chose that event?
My hypothesis all the way through this was that obviously he had seen it advertised somewhere. I don't know why he picked it, and that is one of the questions that the families desperately want answering. Why? Why Hart Space? Why an event where it was just young ladies, just young girls? Was it because of their vulnerability? That piece of the evidence I've not been able to find throughout this investigation.
Axel Rudakubana is barely out of childhood himself. Now he starts his adulthood as a reviled mass murderer who's left acute distress, profound loss and a lot of questions in his wake. Judith Moritz, BBC News, Southport.
So sentenced to a minimum term of 52 years here at Liverpool Crown Court. We've been having some detail from our colleagues who are inside the court complex. They're saying that when that sentence was read out by Mr. Justice Goose, some family members could be heard to take an audible intake of breath. They held hands, They hugged each other, but remained silent as the judge continued his sentencing. We're hearing that after the hearing ended, the family members of the girls filed out of court, standing in corridors exchanging hugs as police officers watched in silence. Clearly a very emotional, a very difficult day for all of them who have come here to Liverpool Crown Court.